Hello there. Welcome to week 5 of my weekly history topics. This is going to be for the week of February 3rd to February 9th. This week I am going to do the topic of radical Republicans after the Civil War, basically. Like during and after the Civil War, and sometimes before. Anyway, radical Republicans, it was mainly a fraction of the Republican Party when the party started in 1854, and it lasted to basically the end of Reconstruction. 1877 is when you finally get to see the end of the radical Republicans in Congress, basically. A few facts you should know about the radical Republicans. They were, if not all, were 100% abolitionists. They hated slavery. They wanted slavery abolished. They wanted it dead and gone. And most people think that Abraham Lincoln was a radical Republican. He was not. Abraham Lincoln was not a radical Republican. He was actually, the radical Republicans in Congress actually viewed Abraham Lincoln way too moderate for them. One of the reasons why is because when Lincoln did his Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, the radical Republicans did not like this move that Lincoln did because they wanted him to go a step further than what Lincoln actually proposed in his Emancipation Proclamation. Like, for instance, all his Emancipation Proclamation said was the states that were rebelling, the slaves shall be free. Now, he never said anything about rights for the slaves and stuff like that, and the leading radical Republicans actually hated Lincoln for this because, you have all these free African Americans, and how are we going to protect them? At least that's what the radical Republicans thought. Not all of the Republicans, though, around this time were known as radical Republicans. In fact, a lot of moderate and more liberal-leaning Republicans at this time tried to distance themselves from the radical Republicans and sometimes even join the Democrats eventually. I would just like to talk about two of these radical Republicans. First is Congressman Thaddeus Stevens of my home state of Pennsylvania. Thaddeus Stevens, his story is very interesting. He started out as if you know the story of the Republican Party, it grew out from the death of the Whig Party, and he was originally a Whig Party member until 1854. And he was elected, basically, since the 1830s or 40s, and continued to be a congressman, basically, from Pennsylvania. And he was elected. This is the one thing that I find amazing. He was elected in 1848, but he served until his death in 1868. He died in 1868. And that's Thaddeus Stevens of Pennsylvania. Now, the other one is, for the Senate side, Charles Sumner of Massachusetts. He was also one of the radical Republicans, and what's interesting about him is, before the Civil War, he gave a speech in Congress that I think it was a senator named Preston Brooks from, I think, maybe South Carolina. He did not like Senator Sumter's speech he gave, and he basically, outside, it was either inside or outside the Capitol building, he had like a cane, and he basically whacked Sumner to the ground and basically injured him. And but Sumner does survive his wounds, and he goes on to be the leading radical Republican in the Senate. So, basically, that's the basics you would need to know about these radical Republicans. I just went over the basics of what they stood for, and basically two well-known radical Republicans of the day. Now again, don't get them confused with Abraham Lincoln, because even though Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, he would not be under the radical Republican group. He would be under a more moderate Republican, basically. So anyway, that's basically it for this week, and it might have been short. I apologize if I didn't put in too much information this week. So that's it for this week, and I will see you next week.